Hey, how's everybody doing today? So listen, are you guys eating too much salt? Do you have a salt problem? But here's the thing. You don't have to actually put salt on your food to be getting too much salt in your body. Now your body knows when you have too much salt. I got a story. Let's find out what's going on with the salt situation right now. Here we go.
Zombie apocalypse.
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you again and welcome back to the show. Thanks for stopping by. And as always, hope to find everybody safe, healthy, and in good spirits. And remember, if you're new here, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon. This way you know next time I come out with another video. And a thumbs up always helps. I appreciate that. And definitely your comments. Again, you guys leaving comments, I appreciate that. You got something to say, something to talk about, definitely let me know. I definitely get back to you as a promise. So yeah, today I got this story here about salt. Now, I'll be honest, I'm a salt guy. I put salt on everything, man. I use too much salt, and I am definitely told that by many people. Um, it's funny. I think I really got into the salt situation was when I was in high school, and used to get the high school lunches, and they give you the mashed potatoes, the hot dogs, and they just taste like crap. So how do I make them better? I put salt on them. I mean, I put salt on the hot dogs. I put salt on everything. So I got into that habit where I would put salt on my food before I even tasted it. It was just a thing. Put salt on it, you know? But I learned through the years that it wasn't good for you and, definitely taste your food first. Was definitely reminded that by my better half about how I should do that and I should stay away from the salt. Um, but to me, salt definitely got to be on eggs and potatoes is no matter what. I don't care what I'm doing. French fries, mashed potatoes, eggs over easy, eggs Benedict, eggs whatever scrambled, they're getting salt. They need it. Hard boiled eggs, they need salt. But I cut down on salt a lot, I mean, because you have to, and you shouldn't have too much salt. But even if you don't eat salt, I mean, put salt onto your food. You don't dump it on like I used to do this and that. You're still getting salt. Your body is still getting salt. And is it getting too much salt? Well, that's another thing we got to learn too is how to look on packages on sodium and stuff and find out what's going on, how much sodium things has. But I got an article here I'm going to read to you. It actually says, "Are you eating too much salt? Here's how your body lets you know." So it's talking about how your body lets you know if you're having too much salt. And again, you might not be putting on these foods, whatever, but a lot of foods contain a lot of salt. For some reason, these days, everything seems to have salt and sodium in it. Sodium is what they call it. Limiting how much salt you eat reduces risk of stroke, heart disease, and high blood pressure. Even if you are not aware of how excess salt might affect your health, stroke, heart disease, and high blood pressure, you do know that too much of everything is bad. So the NHS recommends not eating more than a teaspoon of salt a day. But since salt is in many of the foods we eat, your body has ways of letting you know that it's had enough. So your body lets you know it's had enough. How much is too much? The body needs salt for a number of things. And it's why when you don't have enough of it, your system, you may experience dizziness, nausea, headache, and muscle fatigue. So I'm going to read that again. The body needs salt for a number of things. And it's why when you don't have enough of it in your system, you may experience the dizziness, nausea, headache, and muscle fatigue. So sometimes you don't have enough salt. However, as with the case of sugar, the common problem is not that people aren't eating enough salt. So it's not that they're eating enough. That's not the common problem. The problem is eating too much. If you eat more than that recommended amount in one day, it's not going to hurt you. But if you consistently exceed the recommended amount, you're eating too much and it can impact your health. Signs of high salt levels in the body. Quite apart from increasing your risk of stroke and heart disease, there are more immediate reactions to having too much salt in your body. These include bloating, increased thirst, rise in blood pressure, poor sleep quality, puffiness, and weight gain. High levels of sodium can also have a negative effect on your kidney function. It can have a bad effect on your kidneys too. And if you only check your blood pressure once a year in your checkup, it could be normal that day. Perhaps you fasted, had a cup of coffee, peed a lot, and so your blood pressure seems to be fine. But it might not be so normal if you were tested after eating out at a restaurant. So that's another thing. A lot of times when you go get your blood work, so if they tell you, oh, fast, don't eat for this long, don't do this, don't do that. And then they take your readings and you're normal. Okay. Now I can never understand that. And I had this argument with my wife too about that. Because when I go to the doctor, I don't fast. They're going to take my blood pressure of the way I am every day. So if I'm going to eat lunch or breakfast, whatever, and then go to the doctor, I'm going to do that. Because to me, then that's a normal reading. Now, if it's just a little high, whatever the case may be, it could be caused because of that eating. But if you're going to trick your body into fasting and make it believe it's okay before you go to the doctor and get a blood test, I think that's wrong. I could be wrong. Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know. They say to fast before you do that, whatever. But wouldn't you want to have how you live every day, your regular life, and check me now. I had my breakfast. I had a couple eggs and bacon, whatever, for breakfast. For lunch, I had a freaking, whatever, slice of pizza, tuna salad, sandwich, whatever you eat. I don't know. And now here I am, and check my blood pressure, take my blood, whatever you got to do. But that's me. That's what I did. This is how I am. Now the doctors might disagree with that, but because maybe they're saying that's throwing you off a little bit. Okay. So to me, all right, it's throwing me off a little bit. But if I'm fasting and not doing anything and cleaning out my body for that day, now you think I'm fine, but am I really fine? Am I really fine? Am I, because I fasted and cleaned out my body for you that day, 24 hours of not eating, whatever the case may be, and you're checking me and I'm good? Who's right? Who's wrong? I don't know. Maybe you need to talk to some people about that and find out. I don't know. Let me just give you something else over here. These common foods in your kitchen contain more salt than is required. The National Health Service recommends that the average adult should not consume more than 6 grams, 1 teaspoon of salt a day. Exceeding this limit could raise your blood pressure, which increases the risk of heart disease and stroke. The regulatory warns this is particularly dangerous because high blood pressure hardly presents any symptoms, thus the nickname the silent killer. Where is the salt? When you cast your mind back to all the things you ate in the last 24 hours, you will realize that there's salt in almost every one of them. So how can you tell how much salt you're consuming? Some people try to reduce the amount of salt they add to their food, but according to the Cleveland Clinic, table salt constitutes less than 30% of the salt you eat. You see, so even in that, you're putting that on, it's less than 30%. It does help to avoid adding salt to your food at the table, but unfortunately, a major part of the sodium in American diets, more than 70%, comes from processed and packaged foods. These foods can be high in sodium, even if they don't taste salty. So even if they don't taste salty, they can be high in sodium. Hidden sources of salt. It is well established that processed foods tend to contain high volume of sodium to preserve them longer. However, the NHS explains that other foods such as bread and breakfast cereals contribute a lot of salt to our diet, not because they are always high in salt, but due to how much of them we tend to eat. So it's the quantity of what you're eating too. Some foods to be aware of include frozen meals, deli meat, canned or pickled foods, snack foods, and cheese, Condiments, sauces, and dressings. Hypertension specialist George Thomas, MD, recommends checking the label of processed foods to gauge the amount of salt they contain. The amount of sodium listed on the ingredient label references a particular serving size. If you eat more than the listed serving size, you'll consume more sodium. You consume more sodium. So you see, so pretty much if you cut down, all right, so you're cutting down the sugar, you're not putting that much salt on the sugar. You're not putting that much salt on your food when you eat anymore, like I do. That's great. That helps. Like I said, it's only 30% of what your body is taking. The rest of it is all in the food that we're eating. Is processed food, the deli meats, the cheeses, cereal. So that's where if you really think you're having a problem with salt, you want to cut the salt down, you really need to read the labels of these foods that you're eating. Got to get things that say low sodium on them, you know. Even the ham, you know, they sell low sodium ham, you know. It's funny, I'll buy low sodium ham and then I'll freaking add salt to it. So what I just do? I just trick myself. Oh yeah, I got low sodium ham. Salt. You know, what am I doing? Throw some cheese on there. But be conscious of it, you know. Definitely if you have to cut down the salts, or if you don't need it, definitely eat your food, taste the food first before you put the salt. Don't do like I did. Read the labels on some things, you know. Even the breads and stuff like that. Some might have lower sodium than others, same type of bread, you know, and switch your breads around. Because again, like they said, 30% of your salt intake is just what you put on a salt. The other 70%, 80%, whatever the case may be, is coming from the food itself, you know? So read the label, check it out. If you're concerned, you know, maybe you don't give a crap. It's up to you. You know, it's your opinion, whatever you want to do. But you're better off nipping in the bud ahead of time before you have these problems with the high blood pressure, stroke, and all that stuff. You know, nobody wants to get sick, you know. Take care of yourselves. You know, it's time to stay healthy now. There's so much stuff out there right now they're trying to throw on to us, these diseases and these infections and these freaking monkeypox, all that kind of crazy stuff they're throwing at us to try to get us sick. Let's do what we can to control what we can control and what we can eat, and see the doctor. Make sure you go with the checkups. You know what I'm saying? And explain to them what your problems are, and stay within the guidelines of what you got to eat, what you don't have to eat before you go and see them. So this way it doesn't look like you got a problem. You don't have a problem. Maybe you do, you know? So thanks again, guys, for stopping by. I appreciate every single one of you. Remember, if you're new here, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon. This way you know next time I come out with a video. Thumbs up always helps. I appreciate if you do that right now. And your comments. Definitely leave a comment. I'll definitely get back to you. I promise I will. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next time. So long. I'm out of here. Take care.